Okay, we're live. Nobody else is here yet.
May not be anybody there.
No. Oh, there's two of us now. No, not our usual time, so we'll just see how many people we get today.
Drop too big or too small? Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Well, this one might be a little shorter today. We got 3 on there. Hello, whoever. Let us know who's here. And I'm assuming since you're here, you know that we are not on our usual day. That this is not Sunday, it is Saturday. Walter's just making up our drinks here, and we'll give it another couple of seconds, and then we'll get into things. So it's 3, yeah. And let us know if you can hear and see us okay. Okay, you got those drinks ready? Ooh.
I didn't give it a taste test yet.
What? See if it's any good. It's fine. It'll do. Okay, so got about 4 people by now. Oh, here's that. Jules is here. Hi, Jules. You know, getting your iPad.
Yeah.
So we are drinking strawberry daiquiris that Walter just finished making, and we're having a little cheese, little hummus with some garlic pita, and yeah. So we just get Walter caught up here.
I'm a little bit behind.
What, you have a little behind?
No,
No, you
I've
don't.
never had that.
Have another drink.
Though I'm not as big as some other people.
And who would that be?
Well, not you.
No, of course not.
Friends.
Oh, careful what you say.
Yeah, I don't want to name
No.
names.
Oh, Jetty's here. Hello, Jetty. So Jules and Jetty are here, and I don't know how many more we'll have join us since this is on Saturday, not on Sunday. So anyways, and if you saw the announcement of that we're coming on today instead of tomorrow, you already know the reason for that. It's because tomorrow we're celebrating my mother's birthday, which technically was on Thursday, but we're having a little family gathering over at her nursing home at about the same time as we would normally go on live. So we thought we could either do it earlier on Sunday, but then that might put a little bit of a rush on us because we have some things we have to get ready before we go over to my mother's. And we also thought that maybe we get some other people who can't often join us on Sunday because of where they are in the world. They're in bed. Yeah, well, they could be in bed too now as well.
Still
But maybe,
same day. Same
yeah,
time.
I know, same
Just a
time.
different day.
Yeah, I know. But people like Nairi who have to get up the next morning to go. It's Monday morning for her, and she's going off to work and stuff like that. Well, we'll see. Anyways, so yes, tomorrow my mother, we're having a birthday party for her. She wasn't that well this week for one reason or another. I never know for sure whether it's real or not. But I talked to her on on Thursday to wish her a happy birthday. We'd been over there on Tuesday. And thanks, Jetty. And she says, I said to her, well, when we were over there on Tuesday, she kind of said something about she just didn't have a lot of ambition and she was really tired. And I thought, uh-oh, what's going on? And I said, well, did they look at you? Oh, yeah. Well, they said they don't know what it is or anything, if it's anything at all. Well, it's not anything. I think it's psychological. My mother does suffer from some depression, and she is on an antidepressant, a mild one, for that. And I'm thinking, miss your medication? Or is it because, you see, my father's birthday technically would be tomorrow. My mother's is on the 15th of August. My father's was on the 18th of August. Of course, my father passed away 5 years ago. And I'm just wondering if my mother's having a little bit of
Probably.
depression attached with
I
that.
think she went through that last year too, in the hospital.
Yeah, I think so. Hi, Laura. And the thing is with my mother, when it was anybody's birthday in our families, back in the heyday of when my father had his own small company and things like that, birthdays were a big to-do. There was a whole gang of people. We'd go out for dinner. The wine would flow, the appetizers, the whole bit. One of the reasons why my father had lost his business, because they weren't very good money managers. And my mother was used to that kind of thing. And now, times have changed and that kind of thing. And so maybe she harkens back to those days, because they were a lot of fun. No two ways about it. But I don't know. It may be also because, here she is, 79 years old. She's in a nursing home. That's got to make you stop and reflect on your life. Like, you look in the mirror and go, how the hell did I become this age? I do that every morning. But I'm not in a nursing home.
Not yet.
Oh, Chuck, yeah, thank you. Andy's here. Hi, Andy. And Chuck is here. Hi, Chuck. Haven't seen you on here in a bit. So anyways, I'm hoping the little birthday celebration that we're going to have tomorrow will cheer her up. She was in bed, supposedly, on Wednesday and Thursday, both days. And I said, oh, you're not feeling well. And she says, well, I don't know. When she starts with that, then I know it's not her body. And I said, did someone look at you? Well, yes, the nurse practitioner was in, which is basically a doctor. And I said, and? She said, well, they don't know. They just suggested I stay in bed. Yeah, my mother likes to be in bed.
Well, I have a feeling that she suggested us to stay in bed because
Yeah.
it would make her feel better.
Yeah, and maybe they needed a break from her. So, figures the same. But anyways, I said, well, she did throw up once, she says. Sometimes I think my mother makes herself throw up too. Whatever's happening in her brain with this. So, Chuck says enough factors to give a bit of depression a chance to creep in. Yeah. And I know she's got this, and she's had this since my father passed away, if not before then as well. I get it. It has been 5 years, but, my parents were inseparable since they were teenagers. So, yeah, I can see it. So anyways, we'll have this little celebration. There's only going to be 5 of us. It'll be Walter and myself and my sister and my brother-in-law, her husband. And what are you doing?
No.
Staring into them, making
Yeah.
weird faces. And my niece. And we're just going to go over around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to set up the room that we've reserved for this occasion, the games room or something. I got some decorations, got some appetizers, and then we're going to order Chinese food because my mother likes Chinese food. I said to her, do you want Chinese food or do you want Swiss chalet? Because she likes both. And she said it didn't matter, so I decided Chinese food because I think Chinese food would be a little easier because if she has to try and cut chicken off the bone kind of a thing, I think that could be a bit
Well,
of
you
a...
could help her.
And the other reason why I didn't order it is I don't like cutting up other people's meat.
You have to cut up chicken balls if you...
Yeah, well, who knows? She'll eat like a fly anyways, or like a bird or something, because she never eats a whole lot.
Yeah, that she might chow down because the nursing home food's so terrible.
Well, there's that possibility too. So whatever. We're going to take a little wine over with us as well. Apparently you can do that. I checked that out beforehand to make sure. And they said, oh yeah, no problem, enjoy. So the wine's for us, not for my mother, because I have a feeling we're going to need it. Well, she can have some too if she wants it. I don't know if she bothers anymore. They have happy hours there. And I
It's
asked...
not like she'll fall out of her wheelchair.
Well, no. True. So anyways, we'll see how that all goes. Oh, Pracey's here. Hi, Pracey. Is it Chinese food like we have in the USA or real Chinese food? No, it's North American Chinese food. We've had the real Chinese food. And you want to know something? It's not that
It's
much
not
different. Not
The
that
only
much
thing that
different.
they don't have is chicken balls. and
Yeah, they
stuff
don't have
like
sweet and sour chicken balls, that kind of thing. That's definitely North America. In fact, I asked my doctor, who was Chinese at the time. He's now
A dry wine for a dry humor.
What's that? A dry wine for dry humor, perhaps. Yeah, maybe. Oh, hi, Gene. Gene's here, hiding in the background. Andy says. Yeah, I asked my doctor when we went to China, and I was a little concerned about the food because I knew it wasn't going to be North American Chinese, right? And he said, "Well, do you like the Chinese food here?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but it's North American Chinese. I don't suppose the same." He says, "No." He said, "Basically, it's the same thing with a few items that they don't bother with over there that, we have here." He says, "Everything's deep fried. You'll be very sick of deep fried."
A lot of stir fried stuff.
Yeah. And he was right,
It wasn't.
but it wasn't bad for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it may not have had some like North American dishes that we're used to or something.
No.
But it had. But it was very similar style.
Yeah. And it was good. I mean, it was fine. There was no problems. Well, you did have one problem, but half of our cruise or half of our trip had that problem. They got a little bit of the Chairman Mao
a little
curse.
bit of water somehow got into what I was eating or drinking.
Chuck says, how long ago was the China trip? That was 2010, wasn't it? 2010, so 9 years ago when we went. And Priest says, my packets of Swiss chalet dipping sauce have been delayed in customs. You're getting
Swiss chalet.
chalet dipping sauce? Why are you getting it through customs? Are you mail ordering the stuff?
Why are you getting it? Period. It's okay, but
Yeah.
it's not something I'd run out and get.
Well, no. Is Swiss chalet Canadian?
Yes.
Oh, do they not have Swiss chalets in
No,
States?
they don't.
Oh.
Not as far as I know, anyway.
Okay, now I understand. So it's pretty easy. Is that why you're ordering Swiss chalet sauce?
They're Cara Foods, right?
Yeah. Amazon. She got it on Amazon. Yeah, we can get in the grocery stores. You can get dry packets of it that you just add water to, like one of those instant gravies, and you can make it up for yourself too.
Yeah, Presley says no.
No what?
No, I know that probably there's no Swiss
No
chalet.
Swiss chalets. I don't really think about Swiss chalet being Canadian. I mean, so many of our restaurants are American based, so you don't
What,
think.
like Boston Pizza? That's Canadian too.
Is it?
Yeah, based out of Edmonton.
Oh. Why did they call it Boston Pizza then?
And to make it more appealing, I guess. Maybe the Canadians think there's something special.
What, they didn't want to call it Moncton Pizza?
Well,
Halifax
Would you
Pizza?
go to Edmonton Pizza?
I don't know. If they had good pizza, maybe I would.
It's like anything. They make it sound like it's like Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Yeah, well,
Make it sound more exotic.
that's kind of like what we'll be talking about today. Our main topic is watching your prices and how we've been sucked in for different things over the years. But before we get that, what other news? Well, we've booked our next trip. It's not until next May, but Walter's got us booked on a river cruise from Amsterdam to Budapest.
15-day.
Yeah, 15-day river
We
boat.
weren't
one.
going to do 15-day at first because they're expensive.
Yeah, don't talk with your mouth full. Can't hear you.
Expensive.
Yeah, they are. They're very expensive in comparison to ocean cruises, but they include a lot of things that ocean cruises don't. So,
And
It's-
actually, because we're booking now, we actually supposedly got the flight included too. So
yeah, that's something that's rare. They include the flight. Of course,
we don't know. We might be going to Pterodactyl Airlines.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't know what that is. We may have wing seats, meaning outside. I don't know. But we've committed ourselves to this, and we're going. So I don't know if we're going to be able to survive, though, between now and May and not do anything. Of course, mind you, today we went down to the Ultimate Sewing. That's our sewing place, our sewing store. And they had their open house today, and that's when they have up all the new classes that are coming up in the fall. And you can sign up for them and, of course, pay for them. So I'm taking 3 classes. Are you taking 2 or 3?
Yeah, too.
You got 2. So what? You're taking the one that makes the handbag.
Yeah, and that easy quilt or whatever that.
Oh, the BQ5 or whatever
Yeah,
they
yeah.
called it. So Actually, it's a nice looking quilt.
I like the one she's got, the
Uh-huh.
example that she's got. That's
Oh.
really nice.
Well, then you might want to get all the same material.
Yeah,
I'll bet.
almost.
Just like some of those other people that
Yeah.
take the courses. I'm taking a Bargello class. Bargellos are basically strips of fabric that you sew together into like a tube, and then you slice them. And the way you arrange the slices creates this effect that looks like curves, but it's actually all straight lines. It's kind of cool. I've wanted to do one of these for a while. I don't think they're very difficult to do, but I thought I'd take a class on how to do it.
Steve, you always talk with your mouth full.
Thank you, Mother Phyllis. I'm sorry. Slap me, dear. You're lucky I'm not taking up. Never mind.
No, he doesn't like it when people.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, blow me. Anyways, what were we saying? So yeah, I'm taking that, and what's the other classes? Oh, I'm taking the mystery quilt, so I have no idea what it looks like. And then one called fantasy, which supposedly, did she have a fantasy up there, Dave? I didn't look around to see if it was on display or not.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because it's supposed to be done with curves. And I've kind of been interested in learning how to do curves. They're a little scary, but that's why I take the class with it. So those classes run September, October, November, and into the beginning part of December. So basically, between the classes, the quilt show that's coming up for my guild in November, and the 4-day retreat I'm going to.
Quilting has replaced stained glass. Yeah, right now it has. I
Yeah.
still bought some stained glass supplies at some point that still want to do that, but right now I'm doing quilting. So, or actually I'm not. I'm doing one quilt class and I'm making a bag
He's making this bag.
because I want to learn how to make bag and put zippers in and stuff like that. Because I think that might be.
And then you can run out and get shoes to go with the bag, and
Yeah.
a scarf and gloves, and away you go in a hat.
It's more of a bag that I think a man would carry around. It's more of a carry type bag. Not really a purse.
No, it's not a purse. It's a tote, isn't it? Or is
Yeah.
it? Oh, it's not. No, it's not the crossover bag.
No. It's more of a tote bag that, you can carry stuff in.
Well, the lady that's teaching the bag classes, she's really, really good, and she's
I'll
got
have
the
to pick a manly fabric.
yeah. Well, like a what? A manly fabric. Yeah. Too bad we couldn't get into a Finland fabric. That would be manly. The instructor for the bag class, I took a bag class last year with her, and she's really good. And I was glad she was there because I would never been able to figure it out by myself. The one that I did, it had like about 3 zippered pockets in it, and cargo pockets on the outside, and it was lined, and it had
Actually-
stiffener in it.
It kind of appeals to me more than doing a quilt. It's sort of like making something. I mean, like, how many quilts do we need? Like, you're doing quilts, I'm doing quilts. Like, how many do we
We
need?
gotta start giving them away. I'm just gonna have to start making them for people in our family, and
A manly. Okay, well, not pink and floral. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll get camouflage or something.
oh God, no, that might be too manly. Jeez. But anyways,
Pink and yellow, I think, are
pink and yellow,
No.
pink and yellow. Ew, ew. No. So, anyways, so while we're in Ultimate Sewing today, we were there. We weren't the first in line. We were the second and third.
There's a male ahead of us.
There's another guy that we know ahead of us, and it was a male. Because you got to get in there because it becomes a zoo in the place. The way they do this,
And not only that, they're not really
organized.
not as organized as they could be.
Although I thought it was a little better today than it was on past times. They're getting a little better at it. I don't know why they do it the way they do it. You have to go, be there before the store opens. Then they have a form, and you check off the classes you want. You fill in your name and address. Then you stand in another line and give it to one of the help there, and she writes it all manually into this class book. They have a very small classroom, so they only can take so many people per class. They offer quite a few classes.
I think the reason that she fills in that book is so that when they run out of space in the class,
Yeah. Hi, Carol.
that they can say that, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they could have done things that were a little bit more efficient that they don't do.
Well,
so.
they could have had the little list of all the classes. They don't send out what the classes are until after the store closes on Friday night. Then you get an email that is essentially a little booklet that you print off on your computer or look at it on your computer screen, and there's all the classes described. But there aren't any pictures of what they look like. So in some ways, you're kind of going in blind with this. Now, what we do is if we know this is a specific type of pattern, we'll look up the pattern on the internet so we can get a picture of what it might look like. Then when you get down to the store, everybody's lined up outside. Today it was pouring rain, which figures. But I took a lawn chair and a big umbrella, and Walter has a raincoat. Well, I had another chair for him, so don't think that I left him out in the rain, an umbrella. But he decided he was going to wear this coat with a hood on it. And we stood out there in the rain to keep our spot in the line. But then you have to fill out this list. Well, I don't know why they don't attach that list as the last page to the booklet that describes the classes. You could fill it all out at home, go in, and then there you are. Hand it to whoever's writing up the stuff in their class books and pay for it, and Bob's your uncle, you're out of there. But no, they don't do it that way. And the poor lady, Trudy, who has to do it, it can get a little overwhelming for anybody. And, you know, you kind of have to watch carefully to make sure she doesn't make a mistake. And it's not because she doesn't know what she's doing. It's just you've got 50 people in a tiny store crunched in there, and one person writing all this information down from your sheet into a book, and she's doing it all manually.
Of course, we get there today, and then we find out that the list that they sent out Friday wasn't accurate.
Yeah.
So then they had to do an addendum on the list, right, at the last minute, and addendum on the list at the last minute, and because she goes and blames because somebody else was doing it. She had delegated it out for somebody else to do. And the problem these people have is they don't get other people to double check what they've done.
No, they don't double check their work. And this is fiddly work too. So, you really need a checker.
You know, it's a little complicated. They got all these classes. They've got all these dates they have to put in. And stuff like that. And, it's prone to error. Yeah. People make mistakes, right? And as much as you yourself may do something and check it over and over and over again, you won't necessarily see a glaring error. So what's always best is to have somebody else look it over and double check. That way you have two sets of eyes look at it to make sure that you haven't omitted or done anything, right?
Or they get
but they don't seem to do that there.
No, or they get the information in their cash machine, cash register. They put something in wrong, because that's happened to us on several occasions.
Actually, it's happened to me. This is the first time it's not happened to me. Every time I go up there, I have these classes listed. They punch it into the cash register, and it comes up something totally different than what I ordered. And I go, wait a minute, this is wrong. And then they go, oh, and then they all freak out.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody had double checked that before they did that into the cash register, they went in and punched all the codes in and double checked to make sure that everything was coming up correctly, then they wouldn't have that scramble that something was wrong.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do that it seems to get left for the last minute. And when you leave anything to the last minute, that's when mistakes are going to happen, because everybody's rushing around with it. I mean, their hearts are in the right place. I mean, it's not really a criticism of the ladies there, because they work hard, they do a good job, and we love them in there. But, I come from...
somebody says poor planning, and that's basically it.
Yeah.
And you would think that, I know when the job that I did, it was technology. If I would do something and it didn't work the first time, I'd sit and rethink it and say, well, what can I do to improve it? But it's like,
I used to...
It goes over their heads.
Before I sent any memos out to my department, when I was department head, I used to have one of the other people in the department proofread it for me, because no matter what you do, no matter how much time you spend on something, you won't see necessarily some of the smaller mistakes you make, because you know what you want to say, and your brain, I always used to tell the kids this in my English classes, it's best to have somebody else read over your work before you finalize it, because your brain will make the correction. Your eyes will see the mistake, but your brain won't, because you're too close to it. Or I've said to them, leave it for 24 hours. Well, talking about poor planning, I used to always tell the kids, get your essay done 24 hours before you have to hand it in. Do your final proofreading. Leave it a day. Of course, they were all scrambling to the last minute to get their work in because they're kids, and that's what they did. But if you leave it for a day, come back to it, you will see your mistakes and read it out loud.
True. And that happened where I worked too. In that I worked in technology, so I wrote a lot of computer programs, and sometimes computer programs wouldn't work the way you expect them to work, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. But if I got somebody to say, "Hey, come over and check my code," right, and they would look at it and right away spot the problem, which I couldn't see.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
And Carol says poor planning prevents piss poor performance. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're always going to probably have some
there's a chance that you're even with another person looking at it, you're going to have a mistake or whatever that they may not catch.
No.
But at least you've done as much as you can to prevent a mistake. Whereas it seems to me that they don't seem to do that.
Well, it was funny because I made a comment in there. Two of the people that work in the store are retired school teachers, and I said to the two of them, I'm surprised. I said, you two are retired teachers. You should be right on top of this. I was making a joke. And organization, because teachers are usually fairly well organized. Most. There's always exception to the rule. And they kind of went, not us, it's the... And the boss came right up behind them.
It's not, yeah, they said it wasn't our fault.
No.
I didn't design it.
But... it all works out.
It's all works out.
We got what we wanted, and that's all that matters. We were second and third.
If they have any other problems, it's their own funeral. So,
But I do like taking the classes. Like any one of the ones that I'm taking right now, I'm sure I can read a pattern. I'm sure I can do them on my own. But it's more, I like taking the classes because it tends to be social. I'm not stuck down in the basement sewing. I'm out and about with it. So that's why I kind of like taking the classes. Plus, you do learn something.
yeah.
I mean, I always learn a lot from these instructors. They're all very, very
You
good.
learn not to take the class again.
What's that?
You learn not to take the class again.
Oh, learn not to take class again. Yeah, there's one quilt. I showed the quilt on my vlog back, a month or so ago when I got it done, called the Dynamic Duo. It's the black and white one, if you remember, or if you saw it, whatever. It's a fairly elaborate quilt, but it's a gorgeous quilt. But the pattern had some tricks in it. And I called it, well, one of the tricks was there were 420 half-square triangles. And half-square triangles are very monotonous to make.
And they were little.
And they were little. So it gets to you after a while. They're not hard, but they get to you. And then there was a couple of other features I had never done before, like mitered borders. And having to put in what they call inset triangles. But I figured it all out with the help of the instructor in the class. She's a good instructor. And she was actually talking to us the other day about some of the people that come in and take the classes who really
Shouldn't.
Well, they take classes that are too advanced for them.
Yeah.
She was telling us about one lady coming in. She signed up for like 9 classes. And when they were asking her what kind of sewing machine she had, she basically didn't know because the sewing machine was under the bed. Hadn't seen daylight in a long time. So they're going to have fun. And the unfair thing about that, and I feel it from the point of view of being a teacher, they can't see what, as a teacher, you have kids with different levels of ability, right? And as a teacher, you're trained how to handle those, and you're one person in a room full of 30 bodies, all sort of at different levels. But there are ways you can work with that. Plus, it was my classroom, so I had control over how that environment worked. And these people weren't paying me to teach them directly. People in the sewing store, though, have to be careful. These are clients. If they piss a client off, that client may not come back in and buy product. I mean, they're not running this shop for, charity reasons, okay? It's a livelihood. So they have to be careful what they say and how they handle those people. But they just about pull their hair out because I've been in those classes where somebody will, I always used to tell the kids there's no such thing as a stupid question. You're only being stupid if you don't ask it. I take that back. There are stupid questions. Like, what was the one about the woman with her serger when you did the serger class?
This woman had bought a brand new serger, and it's a Janome serger that's an automatic air thread.
It sucks the thread into it.
Yeah,
and threads
it makes it as easy to thread as you possibly can. And I had taken three sets of about 4 classes. By the end of it's a very easy machine to thread. But by the end of about the 12th class, she still couldn't figure out how to thread it. It took her forever to thread it.
But then talk about the needles.
You know what happened was there's 2 needles in the serger, a left and right needle, and for certain stitches you have to take the left needle out, right? So the instructor says, "Okay, everybody, take your left needle out." Okay. And so she was sitting next to me. And so she did was she took both needles out. Now, it doesn't
work that way.
Take the brightest of a person to know that you need at least one needle to sew with, right? So she says, she takes both needles out. And she goes, "Shirley, did I do this right?" And I looked at it, just about laughed my head off. I thought, Shirley goes, "No, you need at least one needle to sew with." "Oh, yeah, right. Oh, do I?"
And there's one customer who is a regular in the store. Everybody knows her, and she's been in 1 or 2 classes I've been in. And she's a nice lady, but I'm not sure if sewing is really her forte because she never gets anything right. And you can see the frustration in the instructors' faces, but they can't really say anything. They've got to have the patience of Job in there, and I get it. I had the same situation when I was a teacher. You probably wouldn't believe me, but it's true. I had some, I had some really stupid kids. And they weren't stupid because they had a problem. Like, it wasn't a learning disability. They were just plain stupid because they wanted to be stupid. They didn't want to give anything a try. So I know about the patience part and what you do.
And then we had another one in that class that she couldn't keep her mouth shut. She was actually a teacher.
Yeah, well, that's not unusual.
And she couldn't keep her mouth shut. And even when the instructor's talking, she was like blah, 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 blabbing. And
I hate that. When you're in a class as a student, in a class, and there's the instructor's giving you important information, and there's somebody that's always talking in your ear, and you can't hear the instructor. And you try not to be rude and say, "Could you just shut up with it?" But they don't get a hint. Like if you go, "Oh, just a sec, I just want to hear this." No, they don't get the hint. They just raise their voice and go on longer.
Or then she was full of stupid questions, and she kept asking the same thing over and over again, and even when she was told the right information, or she wasn't listening.
Yeah.
And then she'd ask the stupid question all over again, and it's like, where were you?
But that's so unfair to the rest of the people taking the class, because what happens is the instructor uses all of her time helping that person. And so you're there, and if you need some help, you can sit there for a long time waiting patiently. Or what happens is the instructor will realize that other people need some help, but this other person's monopolizing their time, and they're trying to find a graceful way to put them on hold and move over to somebody else and get their problem solved and then come back.
Then she became a busybody and started asking me about my questions about my life. And then she wanted to know why we didn't have children.
Well, we're men.
I said because
I don't have the body parts.
I said, because we didn't really want any. And then she kind of looked at me strange, like, why wouldn't you want children, mind you?
Oh, give you a list.
And
Because it might turn out like you.
then she was giving me all these excuses why I should be having children, and I'm sort of like going, "It's my life, not yours."
Yeah.
You know, so
But anyways, so we got on that tangent.
yeah, we
but-
got on a tangent. Yeah.
So, anyways, coming along. Oh, on the tangent of that, so we have a couple of women in our federal government who were in the cabinet. Well, one was. I don't know if the other one was actually in the cabinet, the prime minister's, council kind of a thing. But they came into conflict with our prime minister over their boss, who probably had told them they should have handled this in a certain way. They didn't like that. So they removed themselves from the cabinet. In fact, they put themselves as independents. They're not members of the party
actually,
anymore.
he fired them.
We fired them from the cabinet, yeah. And the whole bit. And now one of them is trying to get revenge. And it was the funniest thing. I watched it on the news, actually on YouTube. It was a clip from the news interviewing her about this whole affair, because this is an election year here in Canada, a federal election for us in October. And of course, all the parties now are going for each other's throat. And this woman wants the RCMP to be, which is our police
Royal
service,
Canadian Mounted Police, you know, the guys.
Mounties, to investigate this case. And they've already said pretty much there really isn't a case to investigate. And when they ask her, the reporter asked her all these questions about why they think that this should be done and this kind of stuff, she didn't know. She kept saying over and over, it could have been a drinking game for every time she says, well, I did not have knowledge of that. And all the time. That was her expression. If by the time the 15-minute interview was over, you'd be pretty much laid out on the floor drunk if you took a drink every time she said that. And she said nothing else before. And I just thought, boy.
But she didn't really try and support her case.
No, she didn't. She didn't have a case.
It's
That's
sort of
why.
like she was agreeing with the prime minister, which she is having a conflict with.
Yeah. So anyways.
I don't know.
Of course, the opposition is trying to pick on this to try and,
They're trying to blow it out of proportion.
so that voters will go for their party, but I don't think it's going to work with it. And our prime minister is not going to resign on this one.
Apologizing.
And he's not apologizing for it either, because he was trying to save Canadian jobs. And yeah, I think there's some truth to what the opposition and this woman
So what
are
are
saying.
Trudeau's chances? That's a good question. I don't know.
We don't know. It's hard to say. A lot of the whole election basically depends on our province, how it votes. Our province has been very strong supporters of the Conservative government. Our prime minister's a Liberal. We support the Liberals, not the Conservatives, because the Conservatives basically are like the Republicans in the States, and the Liberals are sort of like the Democrats in the States. But then we have the NDP, which is sort
They
of
call it New Democratic Party, but they're even more.
to the left,
Yeah, they are
socialistic.
more socialistic.
Yeah. They're sort of in between Communist Party and the Liberals. And yes, we do have a Communist Party, but they never get any.
They never get any votes.
And it's very, very small number who run.
And there's a couple other parties too, like Libertarians. I don't know. And stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
but they're out of Quebec.
Yeah, and then we have the Green Party.
Oh, yeah, the tree huggers. Yeah,
And,
they haven't got a hope in hell.
Yeah, I know. If you get the Green Party in, you'll be paying for trees forever.
Yeah, and their policies, anyways, on the environment. That's what they raise their whole thing on. Is basically everybody go out and put your arms around a tree and give it a big hug and hang on to it for 4 years until the next election, sort of a thing. So no, I think depending on how Ontario goes, and right now we have a Conservative provincial government, and you've heard us talk about Dougie Ford, or as we like to refer to him, Mini Trump. He's an idiot.
And he's not, since he's gone in, he's been very unpopular.
And he's alienated some of the people who normally do support conservatives. So it's going to be hard to say what's going to happen. Right now,
usually the election is somewhat won by the Quebec and Ontario.
Yeah.
And the Conservatives are not usually very well liked by the
French
people. So they usually don't gain too much ground in Quebec. And so Ontario is usually the big one. If they vote really conservative, then the whole election goes conservative. If they vote really liberal, then the election goes really liberal. So
We have a majority government right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Of the Liberals. It could be a possibility that we would see a Liberal minority. I could see that happening, but the guy who's the head of the federal Conservatives, he's an idiot. But of course, he's a conservative, and they're all idiots. But he's kind of. They always seem to have the ones that always lead the Conservative Party at the federal level all seem to be a little slimy.
British
You know?
Green Party is very different.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Green Party in England,
Yeah.
in the UK, yeah, it's very different from the Green Party we have here. The leader of the Green Party here is a wimp. She dresses like a wimp. She looks like a wimp. She opens her mouth. She's a wimp. They have absolutely no platform here. Their platform is
Basically, no pipelines.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be green.
Uh,
and we'd just be taxed to death on green policies. We'd never get anywhere.
yeah, eat bark and nuts and run naked with the bunnies. I mean, that's basically their platform. So, what's Andy say? The Trump channel, Fox News, did a poll on Trump's approval rating, dropped 3 points. Only 3 points? I would have thought it would drop more than that. I would hope it would drop more than that.
Yeah, actually, this our new provincial premier, Doug Ford, has his own channel.
Yes, he has his own news, which you want to talk about fake news, his definitely is.
It's basically an advertisement for how well he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's pretty thin ice he's on because he's not doing well
He
at all.
wasn't doing well, and he's had a couple of speaking things that he's gone to that people have booed him like crazy.
Yeah. So, Andy says that's from his base. So, I'm not sure what that means. From his base. So, does that mean like from the level he's maintained and now he's dropping below the level he's been maintaining? Or I don't understand exactly what that is. But anyways, I guess it's probably, for those that don't support Trump, it's a good thing, I guess. So anyways, so that takes us to this week's theme. And this started off with basically, I order a lot of stuff on Amazon. So does
He's
Walter.
losing ground from the people that voted for him.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay. From the popular poll or whatever. That's what we would call the popular poll. Yeah, so have you ever looked at Amazon and think you're getting a good price on something? Not always. Amazon's prices aren't bad, but you got to know your prices, because in my vlog a few weeks ago, I showed you a thing, or showed everybody a thing that I'd ordered on Amazon that was meant to help you make bindings for your quilts, the outside edge. And I paid $70 for it. That included the shipping costs and everything on Amazon. Then I discovered that I could have bought it from a store in the States that has an online presence called the Fat Quarter Shop, and I could have got it for $17.99 American plus $8 American shipping, which put it at about $25 American, $35 Canadian. Half the price of what I paid for it. So I actually did order it. I wanted to see which one would come first. And Walter now has the second one.
The Amazon one came first.
But the Amazon one actually did come first. But then, you do a review on Amazon. They ask you to. Now, a lot of times I just ignore the reviews. But this one was insisting. I was getting an email from them every day about reviewing the product. So I did. And I was an honest reviewer. I said, okay, I got the product. It was fine. It does what it's supposed to do. And it came in a timely fashion. No complaints about the quality of the product. No complaints about the delivery of the product. My complaint is the price. It was double what I could have got it from in another place. Now, buyer beware. I should have done my research on this item. And I didn't. So really, the fault was mine. But I said so, and I put that in it that, you can get it for half the price if you look around. The person who runs the store that it came from, because it was a third party seller on Amazon, really got upset with me. Wanted me to remove the bad review. And I said, no,
Excuse me for a second.
because this is what happened. I was telling the truth. And I explained to this person, I could have gone to the Fat Quarter Shop in the States if I had known half the price. Also, because their name was Manitoba Company, it was called. Well, Manitoba is one of our provinces, and I just assumed, because I ordered on Amazon.ca, which is the Canadian branch of Amazon, that what I was getting was a product that was here already in Canada. No, when I did the tracking on it, I found it was coming from, and I didn't know there was such a place, Jamaica, New York. So, yeah, that's why his prices, or this person, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, that's why their price was a lot higher because, and he explained this to me, we had to pay customs and blah, blah, and blah, blah. Okay, well, if I could get it from an American store, and I still don't even know if this guy was even Canadian or American, I don't know. Why, and they weren't charging me customs and all that kind of stuff to get it, so why was he? So all I can think of is basically whoever he's getting it from, he's not getting much of a deal on it either. I felt a little sorry for this person in some ways because he was really concerned about keeping his ratings up. And then I did some research or looked around. It looks like if a seller on Amazon gets, a certain percentage of bad reviews, Amazon kicks them out from selling stuff on Amazon. So I don't know how close he was to bad reviews or not. There weren't that many reviews of his stuff. So I basically said to him, he says, well, if you want, he says, you can return it to me and I'll give you your money back. Well, I said to him, yeah, but then I have to pay for shipping this item back to you. So that costs me money. And so I gave him a proposal. I said, maybe you can recommend some other products you sell, and if there's something there I like, maybe you can give me a good price on it. And I'll order something like that from you. Well, what he finally did was he split the difference. He gave me back. He refunded me half the price, which made it actually the same price as the one I bought from the store in the States. I thought that was nice of him, but he seemed to be in a big panic mode about the price. And as I said, buyer beware. But you do have to watch your prices on Amazon. Just because it's on Amazon does not mean it's the best price.
Well, we've all logged into Amazon and had you look for something and then it's some exorbitant price like $600 for an item that should cost $30. It was interesting, Prezi. It's off topic here, but the Mormons
are leaving their church in droves.
And then it says Elizabeth Smart's dad came out as gay and left the church in one day. I looked it up.
Oh yeah.
Elizabeth Smart was the one that was kidnapped.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember the name, but then I couldn't remember, so I looked it up. And he's 64, and of course he's a Mormon, right?
Oh yeah.
So he left the church in one as a.
Because they don't allow gays in the church.
That is something. That's interesting. That's another topic maybe for another day because.
Oh, that'd be a good topic. Let's talk about religion, organized religion, and I have lots of stories about that.
About gay people, gay situations and stuff.
Organized religion versus gays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we can talk from first-hand experience on that.
Yeah.
In fact, something we heard today too, but I'll save that for next week. A good topic for next week. Okay. So you got to know your prices on Amazon.
Well, not only that, I've done it before where I've looked for a product on Amazon that I wanted, and it came up, and I thought, I'm not sure if I want it that bad at the price, right? So then I log off, and then maybe a day later go back and look at it again, and it's a totally different price. Right?
Yeah, well, tell them.
It can be a few dollars more or a few dollars less.
Well, use the example of those glass head pins you ordered a few years ago.
Okay, well, then they sometimes have specials on. Okay, when I was doing my stained glass lamp, I needed about 1,400. I needed about 1,400 glass head pins to put the lamp together, because I have to. It's kind of hard to explain, but you have to cut all your pieces and you have to pin them all to a form so that you have the form in the glass. I needed about 1,400. If anybody's ever shopped for glass head pins, they're expensive, right? And so I went on Amazon, I looked around, and I found this real deal on some sewing thing that said glass head pins, box of them, and they were like $2 and something. And I figured that if I bought about $30 worth, I'd have enough glass head pins, right? And for my project. But it said it was $2 and something if you ordered enough stuff, like up to $30 from in addition to the glass head pins from the sewing store. So if I bought something else at the sewing store, I could get a box of glass head pins for $2.50. So what I turned around and doing was I ordered $30 worth of glass head pins, right? Instead of ordering $30 in extra stuff. And that it got accepted. But the problem is that they didn't expect me to do that, right? And so they kept changing my shipping date to like a couple of months in the future type of thing. And then they kept sending me messages. Are you sure you still want your order? Are you sure you still want your order? And I said, yeah, I kept wanting to order.
So what you're saying is they didn't want to sell it to you at that price. They were hoping that you would withdraw the order so they could then and maybe reorder it at a higher price.
Right. And so I just waited because the lamp took quite a while to do anyway, so I didn't need all those many pins right at once. So, and they did eventually send them to me, but then later on I noticed they changed their policy that you could get one box of glass head pins, provided you ordered something else. They ordered it, changed it. So you gotta.
So you got to watch it. But Pricey says, put stuff you want in your cart and wait. It will tell you when the price drops. That's interesting to know. Actually, I did sort of know that, but I hadn't really thought about it. And B&D says, if you decide to do the topic about organized religion, try to listen to Steve Chalk about the acceptance of gays within the church. I'm assuming they have a YouTube channel or something like that. I'll have to look him up because I haven't heard of this person and see what that talks about. So anyways, yeah, Amazon is not always the best price. 9 times out of 10, it usually is, especially if you've got Prime. I love Prime. I pay for Prime.
But then there was another case where I wanted to order a DVD set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
that I could here. At the time, we were still ordering DVDs, and 1 minute it was one price, and then later, 20 minutes later, I'd log in and it was a completely different price from the same supplier, and then a day later it was a completely different price again, and so I eventually did order it, but I waited till the price dropped enough that I wanted to pay for it. So
see, I'm not as patient as that. I make the decision as to, okay, yeah, seems like a good price to me, and I get it.
Not just Amazon. If you log into any of the hotel resellers or vacation resellers, sometimes their prices change too from 1 minute to another.
Yeah. Sorry, Pricey. You're pulling an Americanism on us again, like you did last week. We don't have that. Amazon.ca, the Canadian branch, does not allow us to share a Prime membership. They also don't allow us to share a membership on Amazon Music because we have Amazon Music as well.
Everything has to go through his account.
We do not have family
sharing. If I
sharing.
want to order something from Amazon and use his Prime membership, because I don't have Prime membership, I have to be him and order it.
See, this is the problem that I don't know if I've been able to make you understand. And when I say you, I mean Americans. This is another thing about living in this country. What you have in the States, even though we deal with the same company as in the case of Amazon, the rules are different for us than they are for Americans. For example, Netflix. There are certain things that we cannot get on Netflix, and we have we pay for Netflix, that Americans can get.
In fact, we were down in Florida. We started watching this show, and I can't remember the name of the show now. And we were getting really into it. And then we came back to Canada and found it wasn't available here
You can't get it.
on Netflix. And that's the same with any other country too. If you go to Australia, they have Australia-specific shows in Australia that you can't. There's a lot of common shows, but there's some things that you can't get here.
See, I don't know how to get this across without insulting you, Americans. You live in a bubble. And this has always been the problem for Americans. They live in a bubble. They think the rest of the world operates the same way they do. It does not. And Canada does not operate in the same way as Americans do. Even though we have the world's largest undefended border in the world, we have two countries that get along with each other until Trump, and all that. We still do not enjoy all the things that Americans take for granted. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have our perks in our own country. We do, but we don't have, because our country's so small. I mean, we're only a tenth of the population of the United States.
Our country is large physically, but we don't have the population. It's just like many years ago when I was growing up as a kid. You guys had Ziploc bags and we never did.
We didn't have them.
We didn't have them for years. All of a sudden, like 10 years after they were invented, we finally got Ziploc bags. Or you got the few people that went down to the U.S. and illegally or imported them back with them. We didn't have Ziploc bags for a long time.
We see commercials here on our television for products that are not available for us. They're only available in the States. We can't get them here. It must really drive Americans nuts, since we're talking about shopping and prices, when they come to our country and they see the limited choices they have in brand name products. We go down to, the joke is, if Canadians are crossing the border at Niagara Falls, they're going to a Target. The ironic part about that is we got all excited in Canada when Target said they were coming to Canada and they opened all these stores and everything. Target doesn't exist in Canada anymore.
Because the selection wasn't as good
wasn't
as
the same as the American. It was different from the American stores. And in fact, though, they were trying to push, I don't know, different tastes. We have different tastes. And it's like restaurants that come to Canada. A lot of them fail. I mean, I don't know if they still have Sizzler in the United States anywhere, but it came to Canada, to our area for a while.
And they tried to Canadianize it.
And didn't work.
But it didn't work. Because Canadians don't like the McDonald's way of being serviced.
Yeah. It was like, go up to the counter, order your steak dinner and everything you're going to have, including your wine or your beer or your cocktails, and then go sit down and someone will bring it to your table eventually. But wait, I'm paying what I would pay in a full service steak restaurant or something for the food, and I really don't remember having any complaints about the quality of the food, but it was just the nature of, you walk in the front door and you're at a counter and you order, and so it didn't last
sort of
long.
like Australians do it.
Well, yeah, but Australians do it. It's a little different in Australia because a lot of their places are geared around kind of, it's a very social event. Friends get together after work, they have drinks. They have tapas or appetizers. And that's how their restaurants are.
Their restaurants
they're like
work
a
in
pub.
their country, but I doubt their restaurant style would necessarily work in our country.
No, it wouldn't work in our country. So,
and there's different things.
Tracy says there's still Sizzlers.
So yeah, they never lasted here. Even Olive Garden.
Olive Garden went out too.
Because actually the problem with Olive Garden was that they didn't have a bar area for you to wait in.
The food was, at the ones up here, I have had Olive Garden since the years they went out of business here. I've had it down in the States again and it was crap. But it wasn't like that when it was up here, or at least we didn't think it was at the time. No. But the problem was they didn't have a bar area. So it was always busy. They didn't take reservations. So they'd write your name down. Well, there was no place for you to stand or anything like that. And so basically...
And in Canada, we're all we're all boozers, so
Yeah.
so everybody wants a bar area to sit in.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we don't mind waiting, but we don't want to be crushed in with a whole bunch of other people in the hallway. It's one thing if it's McDonald's. It's another thing when it's a sit-down, proper restaurant. So it didn't last here either.
So anyway, we got off topic.
Yeah, we have. So,
Yeah, when you're doing any kind of online shopping, you really should go in and compare. And specifically Amazon, the prices do change from time to time.
yeah. Like Phyllis says, I love Prime and try to compare products. If I find a good one at a good price, I put it on my shopping list. And then Phil Self says, different country, different likes and dislikes. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But the American retailers that come up here don't usually do very well if they haven't done their research. If they assume automatically that we are the same as Americans, then that's usually how they fail. I mean, the one business that's managed to make a go of it and stay here is Walmart.
Walmart and Costco.
Yeah, and Costco.
But what's interesting is Walmart decided they have Sam's Club in the United States. And they tried to bring up Sam's Club. Walmart established here first. Costco came up, and Costco established okay. And then Walmart decided to open Sam's Club, and they didn't do well because Canadians are pretty cheap. They might have one membership fee like Costco, but they're not going to have two.
No. And we did have to try Sam's Club for a while.
It'd be only because Sam's Club was close to where I worked, so I thought I'd get a membership for 1 year just to compare. And after that year was up, I let it lapse because the product selection wasn't enough for me to manage to membership.
Yeah. And they were within a few miles of each other too. It wasn't like they were in another part of the country from each other, that kind of thing. So really, bit of arrogance on Walmart's part.
So Prezi says I purchased a Prince picture
at $35, but the seller realized he could get $2,500 for it and he canceled my order. Actually, I've had that happen. And you must have got an explanation. I didn't get an explanation. They'll sometimes realize, and they'll cancel on you. Although, I think Amazon frowns upon that when a third-party seller does it, because that person is going to get bad reviews. And Amazon's very, very, they watch the reviews very carefully. And Priest says, Sam's had weird steaks. No.
Yeah,
okay, Jetty, have a good day. See you later.
As individuals. Yeah, some corporations come up here and they think that I don't know what they do, they're consultants or whatever, but they seem to, they have consultants and everything, but for some reason, they sometimes just don't get it. They sometimes just don't seem to understand what's different about the country.
Yeah, well, Chuck says, love Costco, Walmart, etc. don't treat employees well. Well, that's true. Here, though, aren't the employees, didn't they get a union?
No, they never did.
Oh, no. They were
they
were fighting for that. Because we're a country of unions, okay? So, Phyllis says, my niece lives in Toronto but still comes to the States for better selection. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's not so much the price difference. In fact, the prices aren't, actually it can sometimes be a little bit more in the United States with the exchange rate. But the one thing that we don't have here is selection.
Yeah.
And we have less and less of it after we've had several major stores close.
Just in your grocery stores alone, or even the Walmarts. When we were in the States, we go to the Walmarts, we'll go to the grocery stores and look, and I see things and go, what is that? We don't have that. Like, you have spray cheese. We don't have spray cheese.
Yeah, well, we don't get that either. So
I like spray cheese.
Yeah, right.
Well, I haven't had it in a while. In fact, the last time we got it was quite about 10 years ago.
It's kind of gross.
And I think I just threw out the last can a year ago. It has a shelf life of forever. And Andy says the Nova car failed in South America because the Spanish translation for Nova is no go. Americans not doing their homework. Yeah. That's funny. So, anyways, other things that we've noticed about shopping in general, and a lot of this stuff you know too, but like, you know how we all used to, when you watch TV, and back in the days before we had PVRs, DVRs, all that kind of stuff, you had to sit through the damn commercial. You couldn't fast forward through it. Well, now your internet is that way. Ever noticed all the advertisements that pop up on your screen? They're all personalized though, because you have cookies in your computer, which knows your demographic and they know where you've been and what you've been
Yeah,
looking
like
at.
I was looking up river cruises the last few days, and now all my advertisements are river cruises.
Tracy says they had spray cream cheese. Yeah, well, this was the craft stuff. You know, they had American cheese. I always love it when they call it American cheese. What makes it American cheese?
Well, we have Canadian
No,
cheese.
we don't. We have cheddar. And Americans have cheddar as well. But why do they call their cheddar? Well,
Yeah, but then
the stuff in the can is
but
just
the
artificial.
cheddar
but-
that you go to in Australia is called tasty cheese.
Which, if you go to Australia, I highly recommend going to the grocery store and getting some tasty cheese because it actually is very tasty. It's actually not bad cheese. Kind of like
Because
it.
he says you have no ads. Okay, so how did you do that? You turn off your cookies?
Well, you can, yeah. If you eliminate your cookies on a regular
Yeah,
basis,
but then you end up limiting what you can see on your websites.
yeah, that will do that too. Rubber in a can. Oh, you mean the spray cream cheese? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there was some guy that used to do some gay guy that did a drag act or something, and part of his act was basically to spray cheese into his mouth.
Oh.
But then he gained all his weight.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Chuck says if it is called American, it is highly processed and crap. Yeah, we have the same kind of stuff. It's made by a company called Kraft cheese or crap cheese. It processed cheese.
Well, they have Kraft there.
Yeah, I know they do. They have Kraft too. Yeah, you know, cheese slices, as they call them. Cheese slices all individually wrapped. That's just plastic. But having said that,
You can pay for
I will eat
ad
them.
free.
yeah, you can, but you know, to me, that's a gimmick too. I'm assuming you mean through your internet provider for that kind of thing. I mean, you get to a point where you can ignore the ads, but it's just that it's spooky that they know exactly where you've been thanks to these cookies, and they specialize their advertising to you. I get an email from Amazon every day saying, because you looked at this, you might be interested in these kind of things. Well, you know, that's good marketing in a sense.
Yeah, you can buy actually, you can't buy that here. You can buy processed cheese here, but you can't buy the big chunk like you can in the U.S.
Oh, American cheese is cheddar.
You can buy the big
milk
block,
and
right?
season. Yeah. Huh. That's interesting. See,
You can't buy
there's
that
a-
there.
another thing. That's
We
fun.
have processed cheese here, but it's called processed cheese.
Yeah, it's called processed cheese. Well, Kraft slices or processed
Kraft
cheese.
slices
Diamond slices.
Black diamond
Black
slices.
diamond. Yeah, it's fake cheese.
Or store-bought brand processed cheese.
Yeah, but but you see, that's what I said. In the States, you can get everything. That's why we're all googly-eyed when we're down there going,
I mean,
Oh.
you've got like tons of selection compared to what we
yeah,
got.
tons and tons in everything. Food, clothing, entertainment, you name it. The Americans have got it. But you've got 330 million plus. We
People,
have 33
consumers.
million plus. Like you have 10 times more of the consumers than we do here. That's why you have such a choice with it. So, anyways, we're talking about, well, it's all related. We're talking about shopping and stuff like that. But of course, then you have your product placements in stores. And lately, like if you go to a Costco, when they've got something that they have like their coupon that you never need a coupon for, but they have their little flyer telling you there's $2 off the manufacturer. Then you go to the spot where that stuff's usually located. It's not there. Look on the end aisles. That's where they put it. That's prime area. And of course, you have your food samples at Costco. Well, of course. Why do they do that? You get them in there, you try that, you might want to buy it. And I have been susceptible to that. I know what they're doing. But then, depending on how hungry you are, and you get that, oh, this tastes
And
good.
there's also product placement in the
Yeah.
stores that you They nail, like when you go out of a main store, they have all their little snacky items at the counter so that you can, when you feel hungry, you'll have some.
But you know, everybody knows about product placement, I'm sure. You'd have to have been living under a rock to not know about product placement, because there's always stuff on YouTube, there's always stuff on the news. It's there. Everybody knows product placement. But how about the hidden sales? The sales that make it sound like a sale but it's not a sale? Like BOGOs. And lately, BOGO used to be buy one, get one. Now they go BOGO, second item 50% off. Well, that's not really BOGO, is it? And so you do the math. So someone goes, oh, wow, if I buy a second one, I'm going to get 50% off. Now, I may not need a second one, but it's 50% off. Well, no. What you really got was 25% off because you bought two of the items. So that means you got 25%
And
off.
BOGO is basically 50% off.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's 50% off. But it's all in the wording. I think people are getting wise to BOGO now, though.
Well, I've noticed in the Walmarts up here, what they've been doing is if you buy two of the same item, you get it for a certain price, right? But if you only buy one of the item, it's not like you'll get, if it's like two for $6, if you buy one of the items, then it's like $3.99 for one item.
Yeah. But do I need 2 large cans of crushed tomatoes simply because I'm going to save 10 cents if I buy 2 cans? If I only need 1 can and it's $2.69, if I buy 2 cans and I'll get each can then at $2.39 or something like that, I save 60 cents off of each can. You see, what happens is the consumer does this math, this crazy math in their head and think, well, geez, I need to stock up. I need to buy that. And other ways they make you buy more things too is they'll put things on limited quantity. They'll have something on for a good price. It'll say,
or limited time.
Yeah, limited time or limited quantity. Like four packages per customer. So you suddenly think, oh my God, there's going to be a run on it. I may run out. This is a really good price if they're offering that and they're limiting it to that. I better get all 4. When probably I only need it 1. So, you know, that works on our psychology, right? It especially works on women and clothing really well, because we've known women say, I got such a great deal. I went in and it was, if I bought the second one, I got 50% off.
Actually, you know what happens a lot here, and I used to be a lady I worked with a long time ago, is she would go to the United States to shop, and right now, for every for every $1 US, we have to pay about $1.35 Canadian.
Yeah, 35 cents more.
35 cents more
On the dollar.
So what happens is a lot of people go down to the United States and they see something for $10, right? And they go, oh, wow, that's a really great deal. It's only $10.
Because it's $16 in the States or Canada.
No, it's actually $13.50 in Canada.
Yeah, but I mean with the exchange. But what I mean is they look at, they say, oh, it's only $10 here. I saw the same thing in the store at home and it was $13.50. There, so I'm saving money. No, you're not. You have to do the exchange rate.
And then I explained that to her, and she goes, "Yeah, but I don't think that way."
Like that's how they get us. They get us on emotions, or they get us in a panic mode. You know, limited time. When they're gone, they're gone. So you want to shop forever, and then 3 weeks later, the same items back up there at a different price.
It's like I'm looking at travel things. They'll say, for a limited time, you'll get a free flight, which of course I got roped in on that. But anyway,
well, that's not really getting roped in.
No, I'm looking at comparing prices and stuff like that.
Like we weren't making.
But now they're saying, okay, I gotta get this by the end of August. But I can almost tell you for sure that the end of August comes and they'll say, well, we've extended it for a month.
Yeah. That always kind of pisses me off a little bit when they do that. But you know that. Now, if the sale works in your favor because you're not being really emotionally buying, but you're going in and it is something you really want, and you're going to get it at that good price. Or if it's something that you will use down the road, like toilet paper, let's say big package of toilet paper at a really good price, well, at the regular price, but if you buy a second one, you'll get the two of them for a reduced price. Then that's something we always run out of. We need. So yeah, why not stock up at things like that? I guess that's the mentality behind couponing too, which I know is, well, in the States the couponing is incredible because you can get coupons on
That's
coupons.
if you believe all those.
Well, the ones that are on YouTube that talk about it, but we can't.
We don't have that, and the grocery stores do. Some of the grocery stores do have a point system where we get benefits.
Yeah, we are, Chuck.
But we don't have couponing. There are coupons here, but not. You might get 10 cents off a roll of toilet paper,
Yeah.
but that's about all you get.
Actually, what we have, and they probably have it in the States too, is because it probably came from the States. Now, what a lot of the major grocery stores do is they'll price match, but you have to bring in either an electronic form on your phone or the actual physical printout or paper of the prices. So if you've got, like, if one of the grocery stores in the area is offering 3 lemons at 99 cents, and you walk into this other store you're shopping in and you pick up 3 lemons, but each lemon is priced individually and it's not, like, say at 50 cents a piece or something like that, you show them the ad. If it's the exact same product, they give it to you at the price that's advertised in the competitors.
Yeah, we say, Presley, we say the States. It means in the USA, yeah.
Yeah, in the
We
USA.
don't have any states in Canada.
We don't have states in Canada. We have provinces. And, even calling Americans is a misnomer. We're all kind of Americans because we're all North American with it. So
we'll use Americans, meaning people that live in the United States.
yeah.
Or we'll say, we normally don't say the USA. We say the
No, we
States.
say Americans or the States.
We say the States.
The States, yeah. We know who
It's
we're
our
talking
slang.
about. Yeah, we know who we're talking about. Tracy says the OCC gang on YouTube is insane how they use coupons. Yeah, there's all kinds of couponers out there. And I've watched a few. They used to have some, well, I don't know, they may still.
I think it's a lot of junk, though, that they get.
Well, yeah, but they have these little, like, women who get together and they share and they trade coupons and do all this kind of stuff. It gets very elaborate. And they showed there was a show that we've seen when we've been down the States, not recently, but I don't know if it still comes on, about extreme couponing or something. And they show how somebody actually gets this big cart of groceries and the grocery store gives them money. They don't pay a cent because they have figured out how to use the coupons so that they, like, double this and they get this and the whole bit. We can't do that in
The
Canada.
lower 48 is what Alaskans call us. Yeah,
Oh.
I could see that.
Yeah. The lower 48. But
Pretty-
we're on the 49th parallel, isn't it?
No. 48,
40
50 states.
Oh,
But Hawaii is not included.
Oh, yeah, okay, I get it. All right, fine, didn't get that at first. Okay, get it now. All right, fine. Because, I mean, our border's on the 49th parallel.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I get it. All right, the States. And product titles that suck you in. New and improved. Is it really? Is it really new and improved? Or they just got new labeling on their packages, which is more the case than anything.
Or things like Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, yeah, Haagen-Dazs. For years, I loved Haagen-Dazs. And I thought, it's premium ice cream. You paid enough for it. You got a little teeny tub of it, like for $7.99 or something like that.
And it made it sound like it was foreign.
Yeah, it made it sound like it was foreign, like it came from Europe or something. Like Switzerland went through my head. Well, it's not. It's manufactured by, who is it?
I'm not sure it's a U.S. company. But then they started doing smart here. There was a big thing when I was growing up as a kid that in the maritime provinces they had a beer called IPA ale.
Yeah.
I can't remember what IP stands for. But anyway,
Indian Pale Ale.
Indian Pale Ale, and the beer stores here would not be able to sell it because people wouldn't drink it. It had a bad reputation and all this other stuff.
It was a cheap beer.
No, it wasn't that cheap.
Well, I don't know.
But they nobody would sell it, and then so the company decided to make it sound better. So they came out with Alexander Keith's
Oh, yeah.
IPA ale. Now everybody buys it like crazy,
Yeah.
but it's the same stuff nobody would buy when I was a kid. And same with there was another company that came out with a red beer. It's sort of a reddish amber ale, and it was Molson's Red Amber Ale or something like this it was called, and nobody would drink it either. And then they popularized it by calling it Rickard's Red. And then everybody started drinking Rickard's Red. So I don't know if you're still drinking it, but then because changing name. And then there was a company in Canada, I don't know if they sell them in the United States or not. There's a big company in Canada that sold ladies' undergarments were called Canadian Lady Corset. That was the name of the company.
Canadian Lady Corset.
Then they changed their name in the 70s to Wonder Bra.
Yep.
And then everybody started buying Wonder Bras or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's because they changed the name. Like, how many people would buy Canadian Lady Corset?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Chuck says P.T. Barnum was on to something. Yeah, well, he knew everybody was a sucker. But it's all in the way you name a product. Product names are important. Nyree is here. Hi, Nyree. She says, good morning, Stephen, Walter, and everyone. This is a nice surprise to see you today. John and I are on a little holiday in Victor Harbor. And we know where Victor Harbor is because
we stayed in
Victor Harbor. It was actually Valentine's Day when we were there.
Yeah.
And we had this lovely special Valentine's meal in the hotel we were staying in that looked out over the ocean in Victor Harbor. And
I can't remember the name of the hotel.
No, I can't remember either.
An older
hotel
that might have been the Victor Harbor Inn. I don't know. I can't remember.
Could have been.
And it overlooked the ocean. It was a nice little place.
It was a nice little place. Yeah, we had a little balcony out on there, and we sat out there, had some wine, and watched the sunset on the ocean. And Victor Harbor is kind of a cute little place. Very touristy, but then so what? But I can't remember what we had for. That wasn't our first trip. That was the second trip.
Yeah, that was the trip we went to
we
Melbourne.
went to Perth, and Perth. Yeah.
Melbourne, and we had a car and drove to Adelaide.
Yeah, that's right.
It was on our way to Adelaide.
Yeah.
We stopped one night in Victor Harbor, and it happened to be Valentine's Day.
Yes, it did. So they had this special menu in the hotel we're staying in, so we decided to go for it. And, well, it was okay. We lived. It wasn't horrible, but, such as it was. And the service was fine. It's just that we weren't used to how they do it there. Like, it was special that night because apparently they didn't do table service every night, but they were doing table service that night, and you could tell they weren't used to doing table service because
they were not very organized.
Too organized for that because they weren't used to that. They were used to people going up and ordering and taking your number at the
Victor
table.
overlooks the. Yeah, I think that's what we were in.
Yeah, that was it. Hotel. That's what we were in. Yeah, it was a cute little place. But anyways, I'm glad you're able to join us, Nyree. So, anyways, what else are we talking about? We're talking about how we get screwed by that. Okay, but I'm very interested in this topic mainly because I taught media as well as English. And this was some of the stuff I used to teach the kids at school too. And we used to analyze commercials on TV. Like, for example, if you take note next time you're watching your favorite television program and the commercials on it, and not always, but take a look at the actor's eyes. They're usually blue. Do all actors have blue eyes? No. They use contact lenses. Why? Because people with blue eyes, other people tend to trust them. They have found through psychological tests that people with blue eyes, when other people see them, they tend to warm up to people with blue eyes. Are you warming up? I have blue eyes.
I don't.
And do people warm up to you?
No.
No. So
That's
there
why
you go.
I look like a mean all the time.
Well, that's because you are. But but that's another trick. So watch that. It's just an interesting little fact. Watch the movies. Movies especially do it. Especially the ones that, your sex symbols in movies and that. Check out their eye color, especially the men. a lot of them will have blue eyes, and that's one of the things about that. So, other tricks, always check, of course, check the posters in your grocery stores or in your clothing stores. Do you ever see ugly fat people in them? No, you don't. Why?
Only if you're in a diet commercial.
Yeah, even the models in stores, posters in stores that cater to the more full-figured people, like the big and tall for men, and we have Penningtons here. I don't know if Penningtons is in the States, but it's basically, clothing for ladies who are 16 plus or whatever. Their models are gorgeous. They're a little heavier set, but they make them very attractive. The whole idea is, it's like underwear. Look at underwear packages for men. Shoot, if I could buy Calvin Klein's and I would have that body of the guy who's wearing it, I'd take out a major loan to buy all Calvin Klein underwear at any price for that. Doesn't work though. How do I know? Tried it. Didn't work. So, like as if I thought it would. But, it's the beautiful people sell products. Check out, look for pores. What do I mean by that? All the makeup commercials that are on TV or on the internet. Can you spot a pore on any one of those women's faces?
Do Ellen DeGeneres
Yeah.
actually look like that when without makeup?
Oh, you can go on the internet and see, wow, they're probably not her best pictures that these people are posting. But when Ellen DeGeneres does not have her CoverGirl on, she's not a pretty woman. No.
Or Oprah.
Or Oprah. Oh, well, in the color purple.
If the makeup can make Oprah look really good, then
think what it'll do for you, yeah. Well, if you've ever seen The Color Purple, the movie, and she played, what was the name of the character, Shrug or whatever, they just let Oprah go without makeup. That's how they got that look. Not a pretty woman. No, not at all.
Or RuPaul.
Oh, RuPaul. Well, RuPaul used to sell Max Factor.
No, not Max Factor. MAC.
Or Mac Cosmetics, that's right. And he used the trade line
Oprah's canceled, yeah.
Yeah. If it could make a drag queen like this look that good, think what it can do for you. Well, yeah. RuPaul, when he's dressed up as in drag, he has
really bad feet.
Oh, well.
I don't know, I've never seen her feet.
I've never seen her feet. She doesn't show those on TV too much. Oh, that's not true. She shows her feet when she's sitting in a chair interviewing somebody, and when she flips up her legs and crosses her legs, and you see the soles of her shoes, and they're red, and aren't those Jimmy Choos, which are really expensive shoes? And isn't that the trademark? I think it's the trademark for Jimmy Choos, is the red sole.
Soles, yeah.
So, when Oprah's showing you, look at my feet. Red soles, people. Don't you wish you could be me? Yeah, so, Priest said, no, I mean socially canceled. People are turning on her. Well, it's about time. You ever read her unofficial biography? I mean, it was written by that one that writes all kinds of unofficial biographies about people, and she usually finds the scandals in it all. But some of the stuff that was said in that biography, how true it was, I don't know, but it certainly shed a light, because I liked Oprah, but after I read that biography, I kind of changed my mind a little bit on her.
Yeah, but usually people that are really successful have a trail of people that don't like them.
Well, that's true. Chuck says critical thinking, i.e. propaganda, is vitally important to education. Society needs accessory. Yeah, that's what our media course was all about, was basically making kids a little wiser consumers about things so they don't get sucked in. Didn't work, but I mean, we gave it a shot.
I mean, we as consumers all get sucked in.
We all get sucked in.
I mean,
I've been
but
sucked
it's good to be a little bit aware.
Yeah, you got to know these things. An educated consumer is our best customers at some commercial. Well, here's an idea. How much should you spend on an engagement ring? For years, men have been told that the standard in what you should spend on an engagement ring is the equivalent of 3 to 4 months' salary or something like that. That was made up by De Beers, the diamond people. They created that in an advertisement in the 1940s, and that created the standard. And why are there diamond rings as engagement rings? diamond rings as an engagement ring were not used until the mid 20th century in most parts of the world. In fact, in many parts of the world, even today, they don't have engagement rings. They have a wedding ring, which might be just a simple gold band, that kind of thing. It was the advertisers that convinced people that if you really love her, you're going to shower her with diamond ring. And they put that on. It's all by advertisements. The whole bit.
Chuck, the conservative brainwashing of the USA started in 1926 when National Enquirer came out and was a pro-fascist
newspaper.
newspaper.
I didn't know it was a pro-fascist newspaper. I just knew it was,
I thought it was just garbage news.
I just thought, my mother married a three-headed alien and had a two-headed reptile. I don't know, or something like that. I haven't seen the National Enquirer on the newsstands at the checkout at the grocery store yet. So, are they still in existence?
Well, I don't know. I haven't really looked actually. You have the garbage magazines at Walmart when you get out, but
yeah,
I haven't really looked at
Phyllis says what P.D. Barnum said, there's a sucker born every minute. Actually, they say he didn't actually say that, but it's become legend. And just a little side note, in a distant way, I'm actually related to P.T. Barnum. I used to think that P.T. Barnum, according to my family's legacy, he was my great-great-uncle. But it turns out after I did some tracing in my family tree, no.
Not really related.
Not really related at all.
Just the name.
It's my mother was a Barnum, but he's actually is related to my mother's side of the family, but like it's such a distant cousin, you could marry him 3 times over and not have a retarded child. So that kind of thing. Tracy says, an engagement ring was supposed to be a measure of how much the man would work for his wife to show his love. It was also supposed to be a way for a woman to support herself if she left or was widowed. There's so many things wrong with what you just said mentally. Like, not saying your information is wrong. What I'm saying is, really, if you show how much you love a woman and you have to do it by how big the ring is, or if she's looking at it as an investment,
try and resell it. You probably won't get much for it.
Yeah, really. Oh, well. But, we're all victims to this kind of stuff, and I don't think anybody can say they've never been sucked in by an advertisement. I know I have been. And even though my rational mind says you're being sucked in, my emotional mind sinks in and goes, but I want it. I have to have it. I want it now. I don't care. Kind of a thing. Phyllis says, I'm related to Salem Witch. Watch out. Phyllis, I'd like to say that it shocks me. It doesn't. I don't know, I have this vision now of you sitting there on your broom with a pointy hat, or I'm just joking with you, Phyllis, but hey, is Rosie on here today? I just wondered, you've got a broom, she's got a gun. Who wins? But
I'm just related to a dyke, no.
Yeah. Nyree says, well, I got ripped off. A cheap ring, and 41 years later, John and I are still together. Well, you see, that's what keeps a relationship together. If he'd given you an expensive ring, you might want to have gotten rid of him so you could cash in on the ring. So who's the idiot there? No, he had it figured out, right? I'm not calling you an idiot, Nyree, by the way. That's not what I meant. Phyllis says, a pox on you.
Syracuse says, when I got engaged, I asked for a pearl ring because my ex couldn't afford a diamond.
Oh, yeah, but okay, my grandmother was a great one on superstitious, and I thought there was some superstition around pearls, and I don't know what it was, but something like you shouldn't give pearls to somebody unless they give you like a penny or something back. I don't know, maybe I'm mixing that up with something else.
A pox on you.
Yeah, I know, I already got that. And Priest says, I never want to get married. Yeah. Well, there you go. We know you're not a gold digger then. Oh, God, I don't know, people, how this went from one topic into the rest of these, but it's been interesting. But anyways, I think it's time for us to shut down because, yes, we've been on for 95 minutes now. So anyways, next week, I think we'll go with religion versus gays and other ecstatic experiences.
How about ridiculously expensive weddings? Yeah.
Yeah, the same thing. And Priest says I was with a gold digger. Okay. Yeah, but we're not talking about the Klondike Gold Rush days, Tracy. You're dating yourself now. She says, I've had more fun since my divorce. Ooh, you are a dirty girl, aren't you, Tracy? Oh, I'm having visions right now in my head. And I've never really met you. But anyways, okay, so next week we'll talk about organized religion. I'm going to look up this guy, Steve Chalk, that B&D.
No, Sudacube.
Or was it?
Tracy, I've had more fun since my divorce.
Oh, it's Andy that said that. Okay.
Yeah.
Or for instance, my divorce. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe I should try it. No. He drives me everywhere, so it's driving Ms. Daisy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere without me.
You know, I have you trained. That's all I can say. I learned from the best. My mother trained my father, too. So, I've learned from the best on all that. Anyways, on that note, we're going to say goodbye. Everybody have a nice weekend. More of it left than usual after
You'd have to find a new travel agent.
Yeah, okay. Why don't you just make a list of all the reasons why I should keep you, okay? I'm just keeping you until you're dead because I'm going to be rich. Anyways, on that note, we're going. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye, Walter.
Bye, everybody.